fight. You got me feeling a fight. Like how could I not think of you?
Let's start off by saying that last night was the worst and best night of my life. Well, best night so far. As you know, I've been dating a wonderful person named A. In 9 days, we will have been together for 6 months. I'm sorry I haven't written anything in between about our relationship. I've just been losing a lot of motivation for life lately. So last night, A sent me some very devastating breakup texts, saying that he'd been on the fence for a while about how he'd felt about me, that he'd fallen out of love with me and was waiting for a big spark to make him fall in love with me again, but knew it wasn't going to happen, that he didn't feel the same, and that he didn't want to be in this relationship anymore. None of it made any sense to me. I mean, just a few hours before he sent those texts, he told me that he loved me. About 4 hours later, after I'd already gone to my parents' house and cried my eyes out to my mom, talking about how I'll never understand how someone can love you so much one day and then just decide they don't love you anymore, and how hard it would be to experience things because of how A reminds me of everything, A texts me, saying how wrong he was and how much he needs me and loves me, and that he didn't know why he ever thought he didn't. He said he was coached through the entire breakup by his coworkers because he couldn't do it himself, because he didn't want to. I wasn't going to reply. I was going to sleep on it and wait until the next day to read over the text again and decide how I felt. But nothing had changed. I love him through and through, and it was the absolute best thing to know that he'd been hurting just as much as I had. So he came over. It was 2 a.m, and it was an hour drive, I might add. I was just getting back from my parents' house, so he was already waiting at the door of the apartment. And before I got to the door, he saw me and rushed over to hug me. We stood there for a little while, holding one another. I had my wallet and a water bottle in my hand, so I had one arm wrapped around him. But he had both arms around me, his face buried in my neck. I can't explain how warm of a feeling it was, even though he had broken my heart just a few hours before. But that's the thing. He'd broken my heart, and it came back to me, his face tear-stained, his heart vulnerable and yearning for me, just after a few hours of being without me. He wanted me. He loves me. We went inside after that and went to my room and talked everything out. He was crying throughout all of our conversations while he sputtered out explanations. He said his parents had been pressuring him and telling him not to get trapped in something with me, to start his life smooth. His coworkers had been consistently pushing him to break up with me because they saw nothing special about me. So I told A, they don't fucking know me. Sorry. He has to make decisions for himself because at the end of the day, it's his life, and he's the only one who has to live with the choices he's made. Yes, geese? I'm in the middle of something. My poor sweetheart. Sorry. My poor sweetheart. He's been pressured and has had decisions made for him throughout his entire life and has been forced to think that he isn't his own person. He says that he has to learn everything for himself, that he doesn't even know his likes and dislikes anymore. Oh, they're coming this way. I think they want to be on the pod. My first guest, geese. No. I'm almost done, so I'll just do it throughout the honking. But I know he's his own person. He's his own wonderful, quirky, antisocial, but such a good socializer, beautifully minded, respectful, sexy and attractive, smart, genuinely caring, incredibly loving, and perfectly imperfect individual. He's so strong, he just doesn't see how strong he is. He says he's lost, but I know it's going to be okay, because I'm going to be lost right next to him, ready to help him draw a map when he is. I gotta set this down because the bench is wet, so I'm gonna put this on the ground. But I'm so excited that I'm recording outside. I really wanted to do this, so give me just a second. Hello from me and the geese. I didn't anticipate them being this close. I started recording and my laptop was full. So it recorded for like 5 minutes. And then when I set my laptop down the first time to check, I was like, oh no, it had stopped recording because my drive was full. I was like, alrighty, we'll just read it again. And yeah, now we've got the geese here with us. And it's going to be slightly distracting because it may not be as loud for you. It's pretty loud for me. They're echoing. But hi, welcome back to the bedside table. This is episode 39. I know it's coming to you a little late, but per tradition, I knew I was going to say it. When I tried to say it before, that's how I said it last time. Per tradition here on the bedside table, I take about a month break in between every 10 episodes just to give myself time to do other things, to focus on other things, and to come back fresh and renewed. So we're here for episode 39, and I wanted to make it a special one. What I was reading to you. That was a journal entry from 10 years ago. Oh, that's crazy. I was 19. My parents still lived at our family house, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, and he had just broken up with me, and then that very same day came back apologizing. It's good to know I haven't stopped loving as hard as I do. I've been going down a little bit of a nostalgia road, not getting lost in it, because I've done that before too. Not getting lost in it, but just, I went down a bit of a Tumblr rabbit hole the other night. Quite literally, I think this past weekend. I went down a little Tumblr rabbit hole, and I was going through a lot of my old posts from when I first started my Tumblr. And it's crazy to think just how different of a mindset I held like 10-ish years ago. I was not who I am now. But as I've said many a times, I think on this podcast, in my life I've said it many a times, I wouldn't be this version of me had the version of me 10 years ago not experienced and felt and had the mindset that she had. I'm at this place in my life where I was talking to myself about this in the car at work. I think I was on my break, and I talk to myself a lot. Probably one of the reasons that I really enjoy my podcast. Not because I just enjoy it. I enjoy it in general, but like, I do. I have very good conversations with myself. I like to talk about my life. I like to talk about my thoughts and my feelings. I think on my very first episode, I talked about how I process my thoughts and how I process my feelings. I speak them out loud. I figure them out with myself out loud, and that's not changed, and I don't think it ever will, and I hope it never does, because I really enjoy my own company. I really enjoy speaking with myself. But I was on break at work yesterday, and I was thinking, actually, I think it was when I was driving home from work. I had this thought. I was just like, everything feels so real right now. My life right now feels so real, obviously because I'm living it. But when I say that, it's like, because when I look back on things from like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, please don't fall over. I don't think it will. The tripod just got a little shaky from the wind. No, I think it's fine. It's pretty solid. But even from like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when I look back on things and I look back on these memories, it's like, oh, I lived that. That was my reality at one point. Because it's not my reality now. But while I was living it, that reality felt so real. And I know it might sound silly, because it's like, of course it feels real while you're living it. But you know those moments when you're living, like right now, like this moment right now, you're living it and it's like, it feels the realest. Because it's the present moment, you're in it. Some would say this is the only moment that exists, but we won't get too crazy into that. But it is a spectacular thing and very fascinating to look back and think, these are just memories now. These are experiences I've had. I have lived these moments, but they don't feel the realest anymore. And there was a time in my life when the past felt the most real, when my own waking reality felt less real than my memories. And that's also a very fascinating place to be in, of just your past feeling more real to you than the moment you're living in. And so I've reached this point in my life now where my current reality, for the most part, feels the most real to me. And I can look back and think about the experiences I've been through and the life that I have lived. And it feels like, yes, I did live that. But it doesn't feel as real as now. Does that make sense? And I don't think I've ever been in a place where I felt like that. Except for now. I can sit and I can look around my life and think about the people in my life now and think about the experiences that I'm having now. And those feel real. It feels real. I don't feel like the best way I can describe it is like, for a while I felt just kind of like a ghost living my own life. I felt very detached. I felt very detached from my reality. And I felt very consumed by the past, consumed by nostalgia, consumed by my memories, consumed by things that had happened to me, consumed by the loss of people that were no longer in my life. I felt very consumed by a lot of things. And I still feel a lot of things. As I've talked about in one of my episodes, I'm a big feeler. But I don't feel consumed anymore. I'm not living in the past. The past doesn't feel more real than my reality now. So I think I'm doing something right. I think. But yeah, I started this episode with a journal entry from 10 years ago. Because I kind of want us to think about, like, how far we've come. I think it's really easy. It's just a human thing, but I think it's really easy for us to focus on the negative. I think it's easy for us to think about, like, what's going wrong? Like, what needs to be fixed? What can I do better? How can I be better? I think it's easy for us to focus on those things. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to fix things in your life and become a better person and deal with the shit you got going on. There's nothing wrong with that. But I kind of just want this episode to be like a little bit of a pause for us appreciating ourselves. Because I'm not who I was 10 years ago. I'm not who I was 5 years ago. I'm who I am now. And there's a lot that I've accomplished with myself. And it's only after everything has happened, which I know, I get it, it makes sense. It's only after everything's happened that you can look back and understand and just see how far you've really come. Because I know we hear it a lot, like, you've come so far. Look at how far you've come. But if you really do just take a moment with yourself, just take a little bit of time to really look back on everything and think about the person you used to be. And we're giving that person compassion and grace and love because we did the best with what we knew. And even if we were shitty people and we made mistakes and we were assholes, it's like, we've learned from it. I hope. No, we've learned from it. And even though sometimes we might still be not the best version of ourselves, because like, what even is that? What is the best version of ourselves? But still, even in the moments where we fall short, I feel like we're handling things better. Yeah? We're not handling things how we used to. We're not self-destructing or self-sabotaging. We're not acting on impulse. We're acting on intention. We're not blowing our lives up at every minor inconvenience. And again, I'm looking back on this version of ourselves with grace and compassion, because we didn't know. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to navigate things. Had we had known what to do and how to navigate things better, we probably would have, right? A lot of us probably didn't want to self-implode and destroy our lives and hurt the people around us, hurt the people that we loved. A lot of us probably didn't want to do that. Be an asshole because we don't know any other way to be. For whatever reason, for our own reasons. We all have our own reasons for being cold and harsh and awful. But I'd like to believe that had we had known then what we know now, we wouldn't have been that way. We wouldn't have been those things. But we also wouldn't have learned. Had we not been that way and been those things and been that kind of person, we wouldn't have learned how to be this person. So give yourself some grace and compassion, maybe a little forgiveness if you need to. If you've been shitting on past versions of yourself, maybe just take a small moment. If it feels right, I don't want to pressure you, but if it feels right, just take a small moment to be like, hey, I'm sorry, I get it. You were going through some shit. I'm sorry I've been so hard on you. But when I say look how far you've come, really, I want you to take a moment to look back and really understand that you have come far. You've made it through. And we're going to keep making it through. We're going to keep making it through. We just have some more tools now. We aren't as lost anymore. And even when we get lost and we feel lost, it isn't as scary anymore. Because we don't need all the directions anymore. We don't need the roadmap. We can be okay stepping into unknown circumstances because we've built a trust within ourselves. When I went down this Tumblr rabbit hole, there was a lot of talk about just how awful I felt. I even mentioned feeling like I wanted to die. Multiple posts I talked about feeling like I wanted to die. And it's funny because I've never thought of myself as someone who was like genuinely, seriously suicidal. I'm not going to talk too much on this subject, but I'm just mentioning it for the sake of this conversation. But even to this day, I've never thought of myself as someone who just like really genuinely wanted to die. But I look back on old posts and it's like, Maybe I've always minimized my own pain. I've never really taken it too seriously, which I think is good. It's not, I've definitely been in a place where I've invalidated my own feelings, but I think it's good that I haven't taken those deep, dark thoughts too seriously. I think that's good. But yeah, there were a lot of just depressing posts. And I know how depressed I was. But when you're living through it, you don't really know how bad it is until you're out the other side. And even when you're out the other side, unless you take a genuine interest in looking back on it, which is what we're doing here a little bit, unless you take a genuine interest in looking back on things, you still don't ever really know how much you've made it through. How much you have overcome and conquered. How much you've endured, but not just endured. How much you've evolved and transformed. I think personally, a lot of my evolution and transformation has happened in a circumstance of love. Because the journal entry I started out with was about my boyfriend at the time. And I think it makes a lot of sense, given who I am, given the kind of person that I am. I've just I've always felt really big on love. And part of me thinks it's because there was a lack of it growing up. So I found it everywhere. Everywhere and anywhere I could find love, I found it. But it's kind of like, yeah, maybe it comes from the love lacking in my childhood and in my family, but I think it just also comes from me. I think it just comes from me too. I don't want to attribute this beautiful, at least I consider it a gift, this beautiful gift that I have. I don't want to attribute it to my dysfunctional family. Though I think part of it's probably from that, but not all of it. Because I think I'm just someone who can find love anywhere. Even in the worst circumstances, even in the nastiest of people. I can find love. I know that sounds cheesy. I was going to get cheesier on you, but I think I'm just going to keep that thought to myself. Unless you want to hear it. I was just going to say I feel like I embody love. Okay? That's what I was going to say. I feel like I embody love. The spirit of love lives within me, okay? That's what I was going to say. I just feel really darn close. I feel really darn close to love. Whatever that is. I can just look around and live my life and go through day to day, and the simplest of things, the simplest of experiences, the tiniest things. I find such joy in. I can look at a cloud. There's no clouds in the sky this morning, but if I found one in this giant blue sky, I'd be like, oh my God. But even this, a cloudless sky, it's all just, it's so blue, it's so beautiful. It's gorgeous. And like the circumstances around me are not perfect. There's a lamppost laying on the ground because it's just, broken, whatever. You can't get over to the gazebo because there's caution tape on it. I guess some of the planks are old. There's geese poop all around. This bench is wet, right? So my ass is wet. I'm cold, even though I'm wearing my warm clothes. I'm a little bit cold. My fingers are cold. But like there's definitely, in the same way that you can find things to complain about, you can find things to be upset about, be sad about, and not that there aren't things to complain about, be upset about, or be sad about. Trust me, I know. There's plenty. But in the same way that you can look around and find things that are wrong, that aren't okay, that make you feel bad, it's like the same concept with finding the things that are right, that feel good, that make you smile a little, that make you laugh a little. Even if it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not. I don't know if you can see behind me. There's this tree back here. I don't know if it's in the frame, but there's this tree that has like no leaves, right? And I was trying to find a place to record where like the trees were more abundant in the background, but like, look at this. And the sun is like right here. And the water's just right in front of me, and the fountain's going, so the ripples on the water are just freaking beautiful. And like, there's a bunch of dead trees in front of me, and like, the apartment buildings are right next to me, and I'm just like, is this the most ideal? No. Does it have to be the most ideal for me to enjoy it and find joy and love in it? No. I just feel so, man, I just feel so full. Even in the moments when I'm sad, when I'm lost, when I'm alone, when I'm angry, when I'm upset, when I've had a bad day, a bad moment, whatever it is, even in those moments, I'm still full. It's hard to explain, but it's like, I don't know if I'm just like crazy or stupid. Maybe I'm just a little bit insane and that's what keeps me happy all the time. No, because I'm not happy all the time. The hair in my mouth. I'm not happy all the time. And I'm not asking you to be. It's impossible. We're not meant to be happy all the time. But I'm going to find love. And I'm going to find the good in every experience. Even the tough ones. I'm going to find the good. Because it's always there. Even in the worst of circumstances. And I know I haven't been in the worst of circumstances. I know. But I imagine even in those, there's something there. There's always something there. And again, like I said, maybe I'm crazy or stupid to think that, but it's just who I am. Life is just beautiful, man. Life is just beautiful. And no, I haven't always thought like this. I have always had that feeling, though. I have always looked for the love in things. And more often than not, if not every single time I've looked for it, I've found it in some way. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm here. Why I'm still going. Why I've made it through everything. I think it's a big part of who I am today. Why I am the way I am today. So maybe take a moment to look back maybe take a few moments, a little time with yourself, to look back and not look at what was wrong, not look at, oh, I could have done better, not look at what you regret, if you do regret anything. Don't look at what you could have done differently, what you could have said differently, how you could have changed this thing. Oh, if only I'd done this or done this or done this. We're not looking back for that reason. I just want you to look back lovingly, if you can. Even just a little love. Just a little. And just recognize, yeah, I lived that. I did. I got through that. Yeah. I may not have been the best. That's okay. I may not have known what to do. That's all right. I may have been impulsive and childish and destructive and hurtful. That's okay. But I did it. And I made it. And I'm different now because of it. And I'm here now because of it. Thanks for joining me for another episode of The Bedside Table. I know we're not at my bedside today, but this was the feeling. I woke up this morning, and this thought has been on my mind that I wanted to try and record outside. I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks, and so I just came out here and decided to do it. And I'm glad I did. And I'm happy to be here, I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy you're alive. By the time my next episode comes out, I'm going to be in New York. I'm so excited. So, yeah. 39 episodes. Yo, that's crazy. Life is beautiful. Don't forget. And if it doesn't feel beautiful right now, that's okay. It's not always going to feel right. It's not always going to feel pretty. It doesn't mean that it's not. I don't know what else to say. So I guess I will say good morning, good night, wherever you are. And I love you.